This is the Solid Signal Podcast for the week of June 10th, 2019. The onset of summer is just a couple of weeks away, about 11 days away, actually, as I look at it. And that means it's time to take one last look at the television antenna that's up on your roof. Of course, it means some other stuff too, but that's what we're going to be talking about here at the Solid Signal Podcast for the week. Spring rains can damage all sorts of outdoor electronics, and the rains and the wind and even the tornadoes that have come and gone in the Midwest can wreak havoc on something as delicate as an antenna. An antenna is super important in the summer because I'm not going to pretend that rain fade doesn't exist with satellite. If you've got satellite TV and you are experiencing rain fade, I feel for you, although it is rare, and I think that it happens to really less than 1% of the people, and I know it happens less than 1% of the time. But if you're experiencing serious rain fade, then having an antenna is always a great idea. Even if you're not, it's great to have an antenna because it gives you additional choice. More channels is more fun, and even though summer TV isn't the wasteland that it once was, it's still great to have plenty of other options out there, and you'll find those with an antenna. Getting a TV antenna and scanning for channels is going to net you probably about 60 to 100 program sources, believe it or not, of which your cable or satellite company probably picks up fewer than 10. Look at all that stuff that's available to you, and while it might not always be your cup of tea, it might not always be in the language that you're most accustomed to, there's still a lot out there that's really, really good and really, really worth watching, especially when you consider that an antenna as a one-time purchase isn't going to have a recurring charge. You can even hook it up with a box that you can get at solidsignal.com that will allow you to pause live TV, set up series links so that you can always record the same stuff over and over again. There are a great number of those over at solidsignal.com as well. And putting up an antenna is actually one of the easier ways that you can update your experience. There's so much stuff out there. And if you're within about 20 miles of the towers, then you might be able to even get away with an indoor antenna, even if you couldn't before. New advances in amplification technology mean cleaner amplifiers, and that means that you can often get away with a smaller antenna. Perhaps you don't even need to go up on the roof. If you're still sporting one of those big old metal jobs that people had in the 50s and 60s, well, that's great if you're 60 miles away from the towers, or if you've got mountains or cities in between you and the antenna towers, but most folks who are within 40 miles don't need something anywhere near that big. It's a perfect time to take a look and see what you have, see what you need, and upgrade to something that really, really works for you. You know, the world of antennas is something I've been blogging about now for about 7 years, and I always think there's nothing more to talk about. And yet, it seems like every year there are advances. The most recent advances have been in clean amplifier technology that really make it possible to have smaller antennas because the amplifiers just work so much better. Check out the latest stuff at solidsignal.com from Antop, from Televez, from Extreme Signal, and others. There's a whole new crop of antennas that are being designed and put out in the market to just make it easier for everybody who wants to cut the cord to do that. As a matter of fact, you'll find all of the cord cutting stuff that you'll need at solidsignal.com, not just the antennas, but also the mounts and the cables and all the tech support that you could possibly want. Start at the top of solidsignal.com, get a free antenna recommendation. Our techs will not just run this through a normal, web page or like you would at some of these other sites. No, they're actually going to look. They're going to try to figure out what's really, really best for you and make a parts list that includes everything you need at no obligation to you. I think it's kind of neat. The recommendation is free. And all that we ask is that, maybe you consider buying some of these things at solidsignal.com. I know that some people have expressed some concern recently, by the way, that recent government activities, recent tariffs or whatever, were going to drive the price of antennas up to unreasonable levels. Yes, my friends, antennas do have aluminum in them. Yes, some of them are made in China. And those two things mean that prices might go up just a little bit more than we were expecting this year. But let me tell you, you don't need to be afraid when you're looking at antennas that you're going to all of a sudden be paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for something. That's just not how that works. The truth is, that the tariff, as unfortunate as it may be, is just something that we all deal with, every single manufacturer, every single person who does business with one of those countries, and it doesn't affect the final price as much as you would think, because we at Solid Signal are committed to making sure that you, the customer, are treated absolutely right. That's about it for the podcast this week. Take a look, as I said, at the great selection of products at solidsignal.com, and a little plug, if you happen to feel like some reading, check out blog.solidsignal.com. That's where I have written thousands and thousands of articles on subjects that you, the public, have asked me to write. If you have an idea for one, contact me over there. Just click on the Contact the Editor button at the bottom. That's it for me this week. Have a great one.